Hi everyone, how are you, grade 4? Welcome to our lesson today. This is lesson 2, which is line relationships. Okay, the page is 436 on your student's book, so get your book started and let's go. So our objective for today, or what we're gonna learn, is how to describe the relationship between lines. Okay. Let's see here. What is in common between these pictures? What can you how can you describe it? Yes, what is in common is that all of them have lines. So here we have a video that shows the line relationships. You can go and check it on your Gr4 accounts when I upload the presentation. So how can we describe the line relationships? As you can see, those two lines are intersecting. They are meeting in one point here. So we call these lines intersecting lines. We call them intersecting lines. Look, they meet in a point. So we call them intersecting lines. Okay. Now, another type of intersecting lines is lines which, when they intersect, they form right angles. Those are intersecting lines, but they form right angles. When lines intersect, forming right angles, we call those lines perpendicular lines, intersecting lines with right sides. What if the lines goes forever without intersecting? Those two lines, as much as you extend them, they will not meet. So we call these lines parallel lines. Remember the double L, they look like the parallel lines. So parallel lines are the lines that do not ever intersect. So back to the picture up there, you can see the lines that I just described. Those lines here are called, yes, parallel lines. Those three lines are parallel lines. Those two lines here are also parallel lines. Well, for the intersecting lines, yes, this line intersects those lines. And this line also intersects those lines. And for the perpendicular lines, lines that intersect forming right angles, here are some, this one and this one. So did you understand the concept of the lines? All what we're gonna learn today is to name and describe the relationships. Let's go to the first question. Yes, here we go. Now, how do you describe those lines? They are intersecting, it's okay, but they are forming excellent perpendicular lines. What about this? Like two L's, they are lines that never intersect. And finally, those lines are called intersecting lines. Now question B says, draw and describe, and label each figure. Here we go. Look at the sign here, or the sample that we have. AB, a sample, CD. EF, a sample, CD. Okay, here he just wrote it for you. XY parallel to YZ and HI intersects JK. But what about those samples here? Well, simply as you can see, this sample means that the lines are parallel, and the sign here means that the lines are perpendicular. So to draw parallel lines, here we go. Just draw a line here and draw another line here, and then yes, line, this is a line, this is a line here, and then label the lines. Call this one A, B, and call the other one, as they said, C, D. Okay, for the second question, you just go to the lines, then here we go. EF is perpendicular to CD. Yes, that's right. You just draw perpendicular lines, make the line sign, then finally just label them with the names. Here this is EF. It doesn't mind wherever you start from. Okay, here's those two lines are also parallel. You will do the same thing that you did in question 1. And finally, for the intersecting lines, you will do like this. Here we go. Just draw two lines that intersect. Just like this. An X is enough. Then label the lines. Here we go. This one is HI. And this one is JK. And remember, it doesn't mind where do you start from, because we're talking about lines that goes forever and they do not stop. Now let's look at the practice page. In the second page, question 1, identify the type of lines in each figure. So what do we call these lines? Yes, we call them, yep, intersecting lines. Excellent. They are I'm gonna choose another color. Intersecting lines. Well, what about those lines? Yep, they are parallel lines. Parallel lines. And finally, question 3, the lines are, yes, perpendicular. Perpendicular lines, yes. Now go to the next page. Sorry, go to the next question. Describe each line as you can see here. But now he wants us to write parallel, perpendicular, or intersect to identify the lines in each figure. So what are we going to write here? What is the first line here called? Yes, T, Z. And put the line sample up. It is perpendicular. Just put the sign here, the sign that he said. Perpendicular to X, Y. Good job. What about this one? Yes, here you will, those lines are intersecting, so you'll just write A, B, intersects E, F. Excellent. And don't forget to put the lines above the line's name. And finally here you will write S, T, and the sign here, and you will say parallel to N, M. That's it. Okay, for the next question here, question C, draw and label each of the following lines. You're gonna draw them as we did in the first question here. In the previous slides, here you're gonna draw parallel lines, perpendicular lines, intersecting lines, and also perpendicular lines. Okay, in the next page, here we have Jaden noticed that the railroad tracks form special type of lines. Identify the type of lines that are formed. Yes, look at the picture here. We have parallel lines. Those two lines are parallel. This one is parallel to this one. And also we have perpendicular lines. So the types of lines are, yes, perpendicular lines and parallel lines. Excellent. Okay, Owen says in question 3 that two lines can be parallel and perpendicular at the same time. Do you agree? Well, how come can they be parallel and perpendicular? Well, parallel lines do not ever meet, so they cannot ever be perpendicular. So no, I don't agree, because parallel line never intersects. So finally, to the vocabulary check. What are the lines that will never meet and they are always have the same distance apart? Yes, parallel. What are the lines that cross each other to make right angles? Yes, they are perpendicular. Perpendicular. Finally, the lines that cross each other are, yes, parallel, intersecting lines. That's all for today's lesson. Thanks for watching and stay tuned for the next lesson.